There's a distinct, almost electric moment in a new relationship when the atmosphere shifts. It's that tipping point where a casual getting to know you phase transforms into something much deeper, a connection that feels significant, rare, and perhaps a little bit dangerous. For a woman, this is often the moment of excitement and relief, the realization that this is it. But for a man, this same realization can trigger a psychological alarm. Instead of leaning in, he suddenly seems to hit a wall. He becomes inconsistent. He grows quiet after beautiful moments. And he starts sending mixed signals that leave you feeling anxious and confused. It's the ultimate dating paradox. The more he likes you, the more he seems to pull away. This behavior is rarely about a lack of interest. In fact, it is usually the opposite. We are often told that if a man wants you, he will pursue you. But that logic ignores the complex internal world of the man who is absolutely terrified of his own attraction. For many men, falling in love isn't just a happy event. It is a threat to their sense of self-reliance and emotional sovereignty. They have spent years building a cool exterior and a life that they control entirely. When a woman like you enters the picture, someone who disrupts his focus, makes his heart race, and makes him care about the future, it feels like losing a grip on the steering wheel. To him, the intensity of his feelings for you feels like a loss of power. This fear of falling is a silent struggle that manifests in frustrating ways. He might pull back after a night of deep intimacy to re-establish his boundaries, or he might use sarcasm to mask a moment where he felt too exposed. He is essentially stuck in a cycle of attraction and self-protection. He wants to be close to you because you are different, but that very uniqueness makes the stakes of a potential breakup feel catastrophic. He treats his feelings for you like a high-voltage current. He is drawn to the light, but he is terrified of being burned. He isn't running from you. He is running from the magnitude of what he feels for you. In this guide, we are breaking down the 15 signs he likes you so much it scares him. We will peel back the layers of male psychology to explain why he sabotages perfect moments, why he acts nervous in your presence, and why he tries to recategorize your romance as just a friendship. Understanding these signs is the key to stopping the cycle of self-doubt. When you realize that his distance is actually a symptom of his deep investment, you can stop reacting with fear and start navigating the connection with a calm, high-value confidence. 1. He pulls away after moments of high emotional intensity. When a man likes you so much it scares him, his primary reaction to a successful, emotionally charged encounter is often withdrawal. Imagine a night where you both shared deep secrets, laughed until your sides ached, or experienced a profound sense of oneness. While you might wake up the next morning feeling energized and closer to him, he often wakes up with an emotional hangover. This happens because the intensity of the connection has breached his usual psychological defenses. For most men, emotional safety is found in being guarded and self-reliant. When he allows himself to be fully present and seen by you, he feels a sudden loss of that safety. The intensity of his feelings for you acts as a spotlight on his own vulnerabilities, and that is a terrifying place for him to be. He pulls away because he needs to re-establish his internal boundaries. In his mind, the closeness he felt with you was a breach in his fortress. To fix it, he retreats into his mental cave to prove to himself that he is still an independent entity who doesn't need that level of connection to survive. This is why you might notice a sudden coldness or lack of texting right after a major breakthrough. It's not that the breakthrough wasn't real. It's that it was too real. He is terrified that if he stays in that high-intensity state for too long, he will lose himself in you. He is essentially trying to cool down the relationship to a temperature he can manage without feeling like he's melting. Furthermore, this withdrawal is a defensive strategy against the fear of rejection. By pulling away after a great moment, he is taking back his power. He is convincing himself that he can live without that feeling, just in case you decide to take it away from him later. It's a preemptive strike against his own heart. He wants to ensure that he isn't the one who is more invested. If he is given the space to process these intense feelings without being pressured to perform or explain his distance, he will eventually realize that the intimacy is safe. But for now, His pull away is the only way he knows how to handle a level of attraction that has completely overwhelmed his logical brain. 2. He becomes unusually clumsy or nervous when you are close. Physical clumsiness is one of the most honest biological indicators of a man who is overwhelmed by his feelings. When we are around someone we find deeply attractive, especially someone who makes us feel emotionally exposed, our bodies enter a state of physiological arousal. This isn't just about chemistry. It's about the nervous system being on high alert. For a man who likes you so much it scares him, your physical presence is like a high-voltage current. He becomes hyper-aware of his own body, his movements, and how he is being perceived by you. This hyper-awareness creates a glitch in his natural coordination, leading to spilled drinks, stumbling over words, or dropping his keys. This nervousness is rooted in the fear of making a mistake. Because he values your opinion so highly, the pressure to appear cool and composed becomes an impossible task. He feels like he is on a stage, and he is terrified of forgetting his lines. This internal pressure creates a physical jitteriness that is hard to mask. You might see his hands shake slightly when he lights a candle, or notice him adjusting his clothes repeatedly. He is essentially experiencing social stage fright because the stakes of the interaction, his potential future with you, feel incredibly high. He is scared that one clumsy move will shatter the image you have of him. Moreover, this nervousness is a sign that he has placed you on a pedestal. When a man is truly intimidated by his feelings, he begins to see you as out of his league or too good to be true, regardless of his own status or confidence levels. This creates a sense of performance anxiety in everyday interactions. He pulls away from the relaxed version of himself because he is too busy trying to be the perfect version of himself. Paradoxically, the more he tries to hide his feelings, the more his body betrays him through these nervous tics. It is a beautiful, albeit awkward, sign that your presence has a profound effect on his very biology. 3. He tries to test your loyalty with hypothetical scenarios. A man who is scared of how much he likes you is a man who is constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. He is terrified of being blindsided by betrayal or abandonment, especially because he knows that if he loses you, the pain will be catastrophic. To manage this fear, he may subconsciously begin to test you. This often takes the form of hypothetical questions or scenarios designed to gauge your reaction. He might say things like, "What would you do if I had to move across the country for work?" Or, "Would you still talk to me if you found out I was a really difficult person to live with?" He is fishing for reassurance, trying to build a safety net of words before he falls any further. These tests are a defensive mechanism against his own growing dependency on you. He wants to know exactly where your breaking point is so he can prepare himself. If you provide a loyal, steady answer, it gives him a temporary sense of relief, but because the fear is internal, he may keep testing you in different ways. He might even bring up other men, not out of jealousy, but to see if you will defend a relationship or show signs of wavering. He is essentially stress testing the bridge between you two to see if it can hold the weight of his massive feelings. He is scared that he is the only one who feels this way, and he needs proof that you are just as invested. It is important to recognize that these tests come from a place of deep insecurity, not a desire to manipulate. He is essentially asking, are you going to stay when things get hard? Because he is already finding it hard to manage his own intensity. He is pulling away from the trust of the relationship because trust feels like a gamble he isn't sure he can win. By creating these hypothetical worst-case scenarios, he is trying to gain a sense of control over an unpredictable emotional situation. If you pass his tests with patience and consistency, he will slowly start to dismantle the barriers. But for now, his skepticism is his only shield. 4. He over-explains his need for space and solitude. While everyone needs space in a relationship, a man who is scared of his feelings will go out of his way to announce his need for solitude. He won't just take a night off to play video games. He will give you a detailed explanation of why he is a lone wolf, why he values his independence, and why he needs his own world. This over-explanation is a verbal boundary-setting exercise. He feels his life merging with yours at a rate that terrifies him, so he uses his words to push you back. He is trying to convince both you and himself that he is still in control of his time and his identity. This behavior is a reaction to the fear of engulfment. He likes you so much that he finds himself wanting to be with you all the time. He notices himself checking his phone constantly, thinking about you during work, and losing interest in his usual solo hobbies. To a man who prides himself on self-sufficiency, this feels like a loss of self. He over-explains his need for space to correct this perceived imbalance. He is trying to prove that he isn't weak or dependent. He is pulling away from the closeness of the relationship because that closeness feels like it's swallowing his personality. You might find it confusing because he'll spend an amazing day with you and then spend the next hour explaining why he won't be available for the next 3 days. This isn't because he didn't enjoy the day. It's because he enjoyed it too much. He is scared of the addiction he feels toward your presence. By vocalizing his need for space, he is creating an artificial barrier. It's a way for him to feel manly and autonomous again. He is pulling away to the safety of his own company because in his own company, he doesn't have to face the overwhelming reality of how much you have come to mean to him. 5. He switches between extreme warmth and cold detachment. The hot and cold dynamic is the hallmark of a man who is fighting a war within himself. One day, he is the most attentive, romantic, and expressive partner you've ever had. He looks at you with stars in his eyes and makes you feel like the only woman in the world. But then, as if a switch has been flipped, he becomes cold, distant, and professional. This whiplash effect happens because he is constantly oscillating between his desire for you and his fear of that desire. When he is in warm mode, he is following his heart. When he is in cold mode, his brain has taken over to save him from the vulnerability of the warmth. This switching is an attempt at emotional regulation. He feels that he has overshared or overinvested during the warm periods, so he overcompensates with coldness to balance it out. He is terrified that if he stays warm all the time, he will become completely exposed and lose his power in the relationship. The coldness is his armor. He puts it on to prove to himself that he can still be detached. It is a very confusing sign for a woman, as it feels like you are dating two different people. But the cold man is just the warm man in a state of panic. Furthermore, this inconsistency is a subconscious way to keep you at a distance. If he is always warm, the relationship will naturally move toward marriage, kids, and a lifetime of commitment, things that represent the ultimate loss of control to a scared man. By throwing in cold periods, he disrupts the momentum. He is pulling away from the progression of the love. He wants to keep the relationship in a state of limbo where he can enjoy your company without having to face the terrifying forever that his feelings are pushing him toward. He is a man who wants to jump in the water but keeps running back to the shore the moment he feels the current. 6. He uses self-deprecating humor to lower your expectations. When a man is intimidated by his feelings for you, he often feels like he isn't enough to keep you. He looks at you and sees someone incredible, and he looks at himself and sees all his flaws. To protect himself from the eventual pain of you finding out the truth and leaving him, he uses self-deprecating humor. He will make jokes about how messy his life is, how lucky he is that you even talk to him, or how he's probably going to mess this up. While it sounds like light-hearted fun, it is actually a strategy to lower your expectations. If he convinces you that he isn't that great, he feels less pressure to be perfect. This humor is a preemptive rejection. He is essentially saying, "Don't get too close, because I'm not actually that good." By pointing out his own flaws, he is trying to control the narrative of his own potential failure. He is scared that if you see him as a hero, he will eventually let you down, and that disappointment will be more than he can handle. So, he pulls away from the pedestal you've put him on by dragging himself down through jokes. He is trying to create a safety zone where he can be flawed without the fear of losing your love. But ironically, his jokes often create the very distance he is afraid of. Moreover, this behavior shows how much your opinion matters to him. He wouldn't care about lowering expectations if he didn't care about keeping you. He is pulling away from the pressure of being your ideal man. Because he likes you so much, he is terrified of being anything less. He wants to be the man you deserve, But he's so scared he won't be that he'd rather joke about his failure than risk the pain of trying and falling short. It is a defensive maneuver of a man who is so hooked on you that the thought of disappointing you feels like a life-or-death situation. 7. He avoids prolonged eye contact during deep conversations. Eye contact is the ultimate form of intimacy. It is where we see and are seen without the filter of words. For a man who is terrified of his feelings, prolonged eye contact feels like an emotional interrogation. He is scared that if he looks into your eyes for too long, he won't be able to hide the truth, that he is completely, utterly enamored with you. He is afraid that his gaze will reveal his desperation, his longing, and his fear. To prevent this, he will often look away, focus on an object in the room, or look at his phone when the conversation gets too personal or heavy. This avoidance is a way to de-intensify the moment. When you lock eyes, the mirror neurons in the brain fire, creating a sense of shared emotion and deep bonding. He is literally trying to avoid a biological merger with you. He pulls away from the gaze to stay grounded in his own world. He feels that eye contact pulls him into your world, where he has no control. You might notice that he can look at you easily when you're laughing or talking about casual topics. But the moment you ask him how he feels or say something sweet, his eyes dart away. He is breaking the connection to save himself from the emotional weight. Furthermore, this behavior is a sign of his internal shame about how much he likes you. Many men feel a sense of unmanly weakness when they fall hard, and he is trying to hide that weakness from you. He doesn't want you to see the puppy dog in his eyes. He is pulling away from the truth of his expression because he isn't ready to let you see the full extent of his heart. He is a man who wants to stare at you forever, but is too afraid of what you will see if he does. He prefers to admire you when you aren't looking, where he can feel his feelings in private without the risk of exposure. 8. He mentions past heartbreaks as a reason to go slow. If a man starts bringing up his ex or a bad breakup from years ago in the context of your current relationship, it is a clear sign he is scared. He isn't necessarily not over her. Rather, he is using the past as a shield for the present. By mentioning his past heartbreaks, he is giving you, and himself, a valid reason to keep the relationship at a slow pace. He is essentially saying, I like you so much that I'm afraid you'll hurt me like they did. It is a way of anchoring the relationship in fear so that it doesn't move too fast toward a commitment he is terrified of. This behavior is a form of protective pessimism. He is projecting his past pain onto his future with you. Because he likes you more than he liked the people in his past, the potential for pain feels even greater. He uses his trauma as a boundary. He is pulling away from the vulnerability of the now by dwelling on the then. He wants you to know that he is damaged goods so that you will be gentle with him, but he also uses it as an excuse to pull away whenever things get too close. It's a way of saying, it's not that I don't want to be with you. It's that I'm incapable of it right now. However, the irony is that he only brings this up because he feels himself falling. If he didn't like you, he wouldn't care about going slow because there would be nowhere to go. The fact that he is setting speed limits shows that he knows the relationship has the potential to go the distance. He is pulling away from the risk of love by reminding himself of the cost of failure. He is a man who is standing at the edge of a beautiful ocean but keeps looking back at the shipwrecks on the shore. He needs to know that this time, the water is safe before he dives in, but his fear of the past is keeping him firmly on the sand. 9. He sabotages plans when things are going too well. Have you ever had a week where everything was perfect? You were texting constantly, had a beautiful date planned, and felt a real shift in the relationship, only for him to cancel at the last minute for a random reason? This is happiness sabotage. When a man is scared of how much he likes you, too much happiness feels like a trap. He begins to feel that the relationship is gaining a life of its own, and he panics. By sabotaging a plan or picking a small fight, he breaks the momentum and regains his sense of control. He is essentially resetting the relationship to a lower, safer level of intensity. This behavior is rooted in the waiting for the other shoe to drop mentality. He is so used to things not working out that when they do work out, it feels fake or dangerous. He sabotages the plans because he'd rather be the one who ends the good moment than wait for it to end on its own. It's a way of proving that he is still the boss of his own life. He is pulling away from the joy because joy makes him feel exposed. If he is happy, he is vulnerable. If he is annoyed or busy or canceling, he is safe. It is a tragic defense mechanism that pushes away the very thing he wants most. Furthermore, this sabotage is often followed by a period of ghosting or silence. He needs to recover from the peak of the relationship. He pulls away because the perfect week made him realize exactly how much he has to lose if things don't work out with you. The higher the high, the more terrified he is of the low. He is a man who loves the view from the mountain but is too afraid of the height, so he keeps climbing back down to the valley just to make sure the ground is still under his feet. He is pulling away from the future he sees with you because that future feels too big to handle right now. 10. He becomes protective but quickly brushes it off as nothing. A man's protective instinct is one of the most primitive signs of deep attraction. When he likes you so much it scares him, he will naturally find himself wanting to ensure your safety, comfort, and happiness. He might walk on the street side of the sidewalk, get tense when someone is rude to you, or check in to make sure you got home safe. However, because he is scared of his feelings, he will immediately follow these actions with a disclaimer. He will say things like, "Oh, I just do that for everyone," or "I'm just being polite," or "It's no big deal." He is pulling away from the meaning of his own actions. This protect and deny cycle is a way for him to satisfy his biological urge to care for you without admitting his emotional investment. He is terrified that if he admits he is protective because he loves you, he is handing you the keys to his heart. So, he frames his care as habit or manners to keep the interaction neutral. He is pulling away from the romance of the gesture. He wants to be your hero, but he doesn't want you to know that he's your hero. He is scared that if you realize how much he cares about your safety, you will realize how much he needs you to be safe for his own peace of mind. Moreover, this behavior is a sign that his mask is slipping. His instincts are moving faster than his fears. In a moment of crisis or concern, his heart takes over and he acts like a man in love. But as soon as the moment passes, his brain wakes up and tries to correct the situation by acting cool and detached. He is pulling away from the responsibility of being your protector. He is scared that if he takes on that role, he is officially in a serious relationship, and that is the very thing he is running from. He is a man who would take a bullet for you but is too afraid to take you on a second date in the same week. 11. He stays at you from afar but acts distracted up close. This is one of the most frustrating but revealing signs of a scared man. You will often catch him staring at you from across a room with a look of pure adoration, longing, and intensity. He looks like a man who is completely lost in his feelings for you. But the moment you walk up to him, his energy changes. He becomes distracted, looks at his phone, talks about work, or looks around the room. This distance proximity paradox happens because staring from afar is safe. He can admire you without having to engage with the chemistry that overwhelms him. Up close, the vibe is too strong. When he is standing next to you, he can smell your perfume, feel the heat of your body, and hear the tone of your voice. This sensory overload triggers his fight or flight response. He becomes distracted as a way to dampen the sensory input. He is pulling away from the intensity of your physical presence. By acting distracted, he is creating an emotional buffer. He is trying to prove to you and himself that he isn't obsessed, even though his staring from 5 minutes ago proved the exact opposite. He is masking his attraction with a fake boredom. Furthermore, this behavior is a sign of his internal idealization of you. When he is looking from afar, he is looking at the idea of you, the perfect woman he is falling for. But up close, you are a real person who requires a real response. He is scared of the realness. He pulls away from the interaction because he is terrified of saying the wrong thing or letting his guard down. He prefers the safety of the observation deck to the playing field. He is a man who wants to be with you more than anything, but is too afraid to actually be with you when the opportunity arises. 12. He asks deeply personal questions but shares very little. A man who is scared of his feelings is often a secret detective. He will spend hours asking you about your childhood, your past relationships, your fears, and your dreams. He wants to know everything about you because he is gathering intelligence on the person who has taken over his mind. However, when you turn the questions back on him, he becomes vague, changes the subject, or gives one-word answers. This information imbalance is a power move designed to keep him safe. If you know everything about him, you have power over him. If he knows everything about you, he feels he has the upper hand. This behavior is a defense against emotional nakedness. He wants to feel close to you, so he borrows your vulnerability. By listening to your stories, he feels an intimacy that he doesn't have to pay for with his own secrets. He is pulling away from the reciprocity of the relationship. He is scared that if he tells you his real self, you will find a reason to leave him. So, he keeps the spotlight firmly on you. He is a man who wants to consume your personality while keeping his own under lock and key. It is a way of merging with you without having to emerge himself. Moreover, this one-sided depth is a sign of his deep-seated trust issues. He likes you so much that he is already imagining you leaving, so he doesn't want to give you any ammunition to use against him later. He is pulling away from the sharing that defines a healthy relationship. He wants to be your confessor, but never your confidant. You might feel like you know him, but when you look closely, you realize you only know what he thinks about you. He is a man who is hiding in plain sight, using your own life as a distraction from his own. 13. He becomes hyper-aware of other men in your life. Jealousy is often seen as a toxic trait, but in a man who is scared of his feelings, it is often a sign of threat assessment. When a man likes you so much it scares him, he begins to view every other man in your life, friends, co-workers, even the waiter, as a potential replacement. This isn't because he doesn't trust you, it's because he doesn't trust fate. He feels that he has found something so valuable that the universe is bound to try and take it away. He becomes hyper-aware of your interactions with others, not to control you, but to see if you are looking for an upgrade. This behavior is a sign of his low self-worth in the face of his massive attraction to you. He is pulling away from the confidence of the relationship. He is scared that he is not enough, so he looks for evidence that you are moving on. He might ask who was that, in a casual tone, or get uncharacteristically quiet when you mention a male friend. He is pulling away from the security of the bond because he feels the bond is too good to be true. He is essentially bracing for impact. He wants to see the danger coming so it doesn't hurt as much when it hits. Furthermore, this hyper-awareness is a sign of his territorial instinct. He wants to be the only one who makes you laugh or feel safe. But because he is too scared to commit, he doesn't feel he has the right to be jealous. This creates an internal pressure cooker. He pulls away from his own jealousy by acting indifferent or cool, but his eyes and his body language tell a different story. He is a man who is terrified of losing a woman he hasn't even officially claimed yet. His silent monitoring is his way of staying in the game without having to bet his whole heart. 14. He explicitly admits that you are different from others. One of the most profound signs that a man is spooked by his attraction is when he actually tells you that you are different or not like anyone he's met before. While this sounds like a compliment, and it is also a warning to himself. By categorizing you as different, he is admitting that his usual rules for dating don't apply to you. He is admitting that he is off script. This is a terrifying realization for a man who likes to be in control. He is essentially saying, I don't know how to handle you because I've never felt this before. This admission is often followed by a pull away. He has realized the danger of your uniqueness. If you are different, then the breakup will be different. It will be deeper, more painful, and harder to get over. He is pulling away from the exceptionalism of the relationship. He wants to find a way to make you normal again so he can feel safe. He might start comparing you to his exes or trying to find common flaws in you just to bring you down to a manageable level in his mind. He is scared of the one-of-a-kind nature of your connection because one-of-a-kind things are irreplaceable. Moreover, this sign shows that he is consciously aware of his feelings. He isn't just coasting, he is observing. He is pulling away from the ease of the relationship by making it significant. He has raised the stakes by admitting you are special. Now, every date and every text feels like a test of this specialness. He is a man who has found a diamond, but is too afraid to pick it up because is scared he'll drop it and break it. He is pulling away from the treasure to protect himself from the potential loss of it. 15. He disappears digitally to regain a sense of control. In the age of instant communication, digital disappearance is the ultimate power move for a scared man. He might be texting you all day, being sweet and engaged, and then suddenly stop replying for 24 hours. He hasn't lost his phone, and he isn't that busy. He is reclaiming his autonomy. He felt the pull of the conversation becoming too addictive. He realized he was waiting for your texts, and that waiting made him feel weak. So, he disappears to prove to himself that he doesn't have to reply, that he can still live his life without your digital presence. This behavior is a form of ghosting light. He is pulling away from the availability of the relationship. He wants to maintain an air of mystery and unreachability. He is scared that if he is too available, you will take him for granted or, worse, realize how much he likes you. He uses silence as a weapon to regain the upper hand. He is pulling away from the constant connection because the constant connection feels like a leash. He wants to feel free again, even if that freedom is lonely and artificial. Furthermore, this digital distance gives him time to think. When he is texting you, he is feeling. When he is silent, he is analyzing. He pulls away from the emotion of the chat to get back to the logic of his single life. You might find that when he finally does reply, he acts like nothing happened. He is resetting the vibe. He is a man who is hooked on the ping of your notifications but is terrified of what it means for his focus and his future. He is pulling away from the screen to try and find the man he was before you changed everything.